Right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this last non-farm payrolls webinar of 2015 with me, Michael Hewson, my colleague Colin Suzinski in Canada. Hello, Colin.
Hello, Michael. Good morning, everyone.
Just going to do a little bit of housekeeping, risk warning, putting up on the screen in front of you. Have to do that for compliance purposes, but once we've got that out of the way, we can basically get cracking and talk about certainly, obviously, what's coming up, but also those massive events that we sat through yesterday afternoon when Mr. Draghi decided to lead the markets up the garden path with respect to what he was planning to do with respect to the QE program yesterday. And I think it's quite interesting, and I know Colin's got a view on this, but what I think is quite interesting about what happened yesterday was the fact that the markets were just completely wrong-footed by it, and what it's done is it's created a number of very key reversals, and I think that the dollar uptrend that we've been in for the past 2 or 3 years is now at an end. We're at a turning point. I think we've seen the base potentially in the euro, and we could well actually start to rebound back towards 115. So the question is, the question I think most people will ask is, why do you think that? And number of reasons, but obviously my approach is a technical-based approach, and we'll be looking at the key indices to look at some of the key levels. Going to be starting with the S&P, and actually we'll start with the UK 100, because what we saw yesterday was a significant reversal within a broader sideways formation, but within an uptrend that we've been in since August. It's a very strong.
Nice ascending triangle.
It is a nice ascending triangle here. We've got a series of peaks around about 6,450, and at the moment, I think what we've got to decide is what's going to be the catalyst for pushing the dollar even lower. Now, there has been some speculation that Mr. Draghi held back on the stimulus because he perceived that the Federal Reserve was going to hike rates at its December meeting. I would certainly think that that's still a possibility. Certainly the Fed funds suggests that there's a 76% possibility that the Fed will hike rates in December. I still don't think it's the nailed-on certainty that people think that it is. It probably will happen, but so there's that nagging voice in the back of my head telling me that the Federal Reserve will find some way to try and not do it. They've been putting it off and putting it off all year. So are they going to be the Grinch at Christmas in the same way that Mr. Draghi has been? So my bet on non-farm payrolls is a bit of an outlier. I'm going for 85,000 simply because I think hiring has been weak, the ISMs have been weak. I think an awful lot of the job gains that we saw in October were basically brought forward from November and December in terms of hiring for retail. I could be wrong. Colin has a slightly different view. He's gone slightly more conservative. But overall, I think what we're going to see today is probably not going to shift the dial that much in terms of what to expect in 2 weeks' time. However, if we get a very, very weak number, it's certainly going to make things very, very interesting. If we get anything above 120, 130,000, I don't think we're going to get much of a move. I think yesterday's move wiped out an awful lot of people, and I think a lot of people could well be sitting on their hands today in the event of a fairly neutral number. But let's go through the numbers and look at what the markets are expecting.
Maybe I can mention some of my expectations, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. So, dive in.
Okay.